Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the Tax Doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the Tax Doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust. Here it is on Thursday, February the 11th in the year of our Lord 2016. The call-in number is 603-835-3224. Again, that's 603-835-3224. We do expect those wonderful Trump women, those two great ladies, you know them. You know them as Diamond and Silk. We are expecting them to be on the program a little bit later this morning, which is a good thing. I'm looking forward to it. So hope we're able to catch it, because they're very busy right now, obviously. So I am very pleased and honored to be able to get a little bit of their time this morning for you, the listener. As you know, we don't do a lot of interviews here for you know a host of reasons, but mainly because it's called the Rod Eccles Show, and I'm not a journalist, so the show is all about me, right? Exactly. That's why people tune in. Look. Got a lot to cover today, as well as as Diamond and Silk, the Trump ladies, calling in, hopefully soon. Everybody's now talking about, well, actually not everybody, but a lot of Democrats, especially Bernie Sanders supporters, are talking about this Hillary superdelegate haul in New Hampshire. Now, look, folks, I'm not going to claim that I understand how they award these super delegates and delegates, especially on the Democratic side. But I got to tell you, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing what Democrats and liberals are saying and posting about this, and I'm scratching my head along with them. Somehow, she gets trounced by over 20 points in the New Hampshire primary on the Democratic side. And she gets awarded most, if not all, the super delegates, which in reality, from how I understand it, can actually have more pull than a regular delegate. So even though Sanders won, much like Iowa, he lost. Now, I don't know how it is that you give somebody that I thought New Hampshire was a win-it-all state. I guess I'm evidently at least when it comes to Democrats, I'm mistaken in that part. I freely admit when I don't understand or know something. And I've asked the question, somebody please, like Lucy, explain this to me, please. I've been asking. And nobody else can seem to give me an answer either about what is going on with this delegate versus superdelegate, how Hillary gets superdelegates, but she doesn't get delegates because she got trounced. And you got people on the left now talking about the Clinton machine and the DNC rigging and stealing the election for Hillary. Now, I got to tell you, we got these are the same liberals and Democrats that keep telling us that people, if we have voter ID, then especially black people, but minorities, but mostly blacks, will be disenfranchised. Poor people, and black people will be disenfranchised and won't be able to vote. Well, every indication is that when you put voter ID into practice, that hasn't been the case. And as a matter of fact, New Hampshire has a very stringent picture ID, voter ID law. And we had record turnout for a primary on both sides, Republican and Democrat. So I don't see where the disenfranchisement is of poor people. Because New Hampshire is not made up of nothing but wealthy people. I mean, you run around the state, you've got what Democrats call working poor, a lot of them. You got something that is, people that are known as middle class folk. Working families. The working class, if you will. Middle class. A lot of them. We do not have a disproportionate number of so-called rich people. We're not a rich state. Sure, we've got some very wealthy neighborhoods and some rather wealthy towns, but that doesn't make up the bulk of the population of this state. There are states that the median income is higher than in New Hampshire. So we're not a wealthy state by any means. We're not a poor state. Louisiana's poor, that type of thing. Arkansas is poor, so we're not a poor state. But we're not one of the wealthiest states by far. We're, pretty average. So that means that a lot of people that should have been disenfranchised shouldn't have been able to vote. Now, as far as I know, New Hampshire is not a state that subsidizes state ID. Either you get a driver's license or you get a non-driver's license. Of course, both of them have pictures. Now, and the non-driver's license ID, I think, is still only $10. Ladies and gentlemen, let me see if I can get this caller on the line. Do we have Diamond and Silk on the line? Well, good morning, my new favorite ladies. How are you? I got to tell you, I know you don't have a lot of time, but I got to tell you, when I first saw your first video, one of your first videos for the first time, I'm like, I love these two. They are a trip. But you know what? They're speaking the truth. Now, one of the things that I obviously first noticed is that you two ladies are African American and you're pulling for Trump. In other words, you're pulling on the Republican side. Have you taken a lot of hits for that? You are being credited with a lot of a growing number of African Americans who are moving over towards Trump and abandoning the Clintons. You do realize you're getting the credit for that, right? There you go. Now, I got to ask, how did you first get on the Trump train? What was it that initially interested you in Donald?
Donald is announcing he's running for president.
And I cut on my TV.
Mm-hmm. And she called me back halfway through. She said, girl, this is going to be the next president. And the reason why we started making videos about Donald Trump was because the media started trying to throw him under the bus and call him out of his name. The establishment and part of the GOP started to do tricks or
twist his words.
Twist his words.
Take his words out of context.
Take his words out of context, play little games and tricks to just discredit him like he was not going to be a good leader for our country, and we didn't like it, so we had to speak out about it.
That's right.
Well, yeah, that's, Donald well, obviously he did a wonderful job here in New Hampshire. I mean, he really kind of, his next closest competition, which was Kasich, he doubled the vote count, more than doubled. I mean, that's unheard of here. I mean, that's practically a landslide. Now, with that win, there are people saying that Donald Trump is going to have a little bit more trouble in the rest of the election, but national polls don't seem to indicate that. Do you really think that this is basically a fait accompli? Donald Trump is going to be the next Republican nominee?
I absolutely do believe that. And he's going to be the next president of the United States. I believe that he is going to run the table, baby. He's going to run the table in South Carolina, then those Nevada caucuses, and on to the other states. I believe he's going to do phenomenally well.
Yeah.
Well, that is, I got to tell you, I like Donald Trump. I like him a lot. And Donald is, he's been one of my business heroes for a very long period of time. And now he's talking about bringing that business acumen to the White House. Now, do you think it really is time for another businessman to run the White House and run the country?
Absolutely. Anytime you're dealing with money, you got to run it like a business. If you got a household, you got to know your bottom line. If you don't know your bottom line, your lights are subject to get cut off. Your gas is subject to get cut off. So you have to know your bottom line. And listen, if you ever want to know what's going on with the body of people, look at the head. So if the head is business-minded and prosperous and successful, then the body of people is going to trickle down to the body of people. So yes, we want someone successful that's prosperous and that knows how to run a business to run our country. Because we know that whatever's going on with the top is going to trickle down to the bottom, baby. And he's going to create entrepreneurs up under him. And then entrepreneurs will create more jobs and good jobs. And it's just, I love it. It's going to be great.
And we don't want another broke president.
We don't need another broke president, baby. We want somebody signing the front of them checks, not the back of those checks.
That's right.
Yes.
Now, when you obviously have you been doing this before? I mean, did you do videos and did you have a business like this before Donald Trump, or?
We were making a couple of videos and talking about what we didn't like when it comes to media biases or what was going on, but we were very passionate about Donald Trump because of the way the media was treating him and calling him out of his name. When you talk about Donald Trump, you talk about how he wants to make this place great again. And how he wants to secure our border and bring our jobs back where we can thrive. You know, when you look at our country, we have people that's underemployed, unemployed. We have the middle class obsolete, just about gone. People living in poverty. And that's sad. It's time for people to come up. We are tired of voting for a system that continues to hand us the crumbs. It's time for everybody to have a slice of the cake, baby. And that's why we're voting for Donald Trump.
And if you go to diamondandsilk.com, you will see exactly why we stand for Trump. And also, South Carolina, get out and vote. If you're Democrat, Independent, or Republican, you can vote for Donald Trump. It's an open primary.
That's right. There you go. And it starts, February the 20th?
February the 20th. That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, what state are you ladies in?
We're in North Carolina.
Yo, you're in North Carolina. Okay. And your primary is when?
Ours start in March. Ours starts March the 15th. But we are in South Carolina today because we're doing a little campaign in here, just trying to get the word out to people. Hey, make sure you go vote. And we came down for a rally last night. So.
Yeah, and I saw some reports and pictures, and it was huge. There were thousands or hundreds of people there.
Listen,
No,
you think, yes, you think the inside is packed. You should see everybody trying to get on the inside. We sat in traffic for an hour and a half.
Yes.
So the event was over by the time we got up there to the event.
And we weren't even 2 minutes away from the event.
So listen, Donald Trump is shutting it down. He is shutting it down everywhere he goes.
Yes.
Listen, people are waking up. All he did was shook and woke America. He shook and woke America. People are waking up by the masses in droves. Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people. People want unity. People want to come up, baby, and people just want to start feeling good about themselves.
That's right.
And when we look at Donald Trump, he makes all that happen.
That's right.
Well, we do. So far, the two votes that we've had already both have had record turnouts. Even though Donald got second place in Iowa, he still got more votes than any other presidential nominee that has won Iowa in the past. So this is incredible. He is turning out voters. Now, let me ask you one last question about yesterday. We saw Bernie Sanders sitting down to breakfast with Reverend Al Sharpton. What do you think about that?
Listen, I think it's really, it annoys me. People can spend their days marching, complaining about inequality, blaming people for the past and the wrongs of their life, or they can get out and join the human race to promote peace and unity and a spirit of forgiveness and love so that we can live in unity. And when I see Sanders sitting down with Al Sharpton, it's just almost like Sanders is pandering for a vote. But Al Sharpton, he's also a pandering because we only see him when somebody has gotten killed by a police officer. And now here he comes. His thing is about a money game. Listen to me. People, we got to get out of that. That kind of mindset, that kind of thing that these people are supposed to represent us. Al Sharpton does not represent the black community. Al Sharpton represents his own interest. And we can think for ourselves.
That's right.
We don't need anyone thinking for us, okay?
Or telling us how to vote.
Or telling us how to
think.
Or telling us
who we need to vote for.
That's right.
No, we don't need that.
We don't need that. And see, that's why we know we can think for ourselves.
That's right.
So we don't pay any of that any attention.
That's right.
But our job is to tell people, don't be fooled by the trickery.
That's right.
Don't be fooled by the trickery.
They've been tricking us this long.
They've been tricking us this long, but don't be fooled by the trickery and the pandering. Yes.
Okay, all right, ladies. Thank you very much. Now, I know you two are sisters, right?
Yes, we are.
Are there any more ladies like you at home?
We have a few more sisters that's passionate, yes.
All right. Well, there you go. A family that is passionate like that. That is awesome. It could be the new Black Designing Women program right here. Don't be surprised if you start getting media offers for a TV program. Let me tell you, I would watch it too.
Thank you.
Well, I do appreciate you taking the time out to be here this morning. I know that you've got a lot to do because you're still out there on the trail with Trump and stumping for Trump. And I tell you, you're waking a lot of people up, and I do appreciate and thank you a lot for being out there. And the black community is starting to thank you, too.
Yes,
they are.
They are.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye-bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You know what? That has got to be one of the funnest times I have ever interviewed anybody on this program. I love those two. You know what? It doesn't really matter if you're a Trump supporter or not. You cannot not like them. You just cannot not like them. They are amazing. But they one of the things that has really gotten the attention and captured the imagination of this country, and not just Republicans. They made that very clear, and they're absolutely right. When you look at the polling numbers and you look at the voting numbers, especially here in New Hampshire, when independents can go to the primary polls and vote for a particular candidate in a different party. Well, obviously there is no independent party, but you've got all of these people from left, center, and right that are following Donald Trump. Now, look, folks, don't think of me as endorsing or supporting Trump in any way, because I have not endorsed or publicly supported any candidate. But I'm looking at all this logically, and I got to tell you, when you're looking at the race as far as statistics are concerned, you have to pay attention to the very fact that Donald Trump, He's pulling from all demographics, and he is pulling from all race classes. Yeah, he's pulling the Latino vote too, by the way. For those people who look at Cruz or Rubio and say, well, they're the ones that are going to pull the vote for president to the Republicans, that's not necessarily so. And when you get those that are saying that, well, you know, the blacks are just going to go full form into voting for the liberal or Democratic candidate, look, I got it. You know, this whole notion about that is not accurate either, simply because they're not going after. Look, you got the Clintons who are having a hell of a time beating back Bernie Sanders. Now I know you're probably going to say it's well, we'll see. It's going to be a little bit different as we get down into some of the more heavily black-populated states in the South. We'll see how that goes. You know, like Louisiana, Georgia, even places like New York and Illinois and Michigan, where there's a large black voting populace. We'll see those types of things start to really tell us more about what's going on within the black community. But right now, you're looking at places that blacks are turning out for Trump, but they're not necessarily polling for any of the other Republican candidates. Now, this is something that the other Republican candidates have to take note of. Donald Trump doesn't seem to care what your skin color is. He's talking the same way to blacks, to whites, to Latinos, to poor, to rich, to middle class. He's giving the exact same message. He isn't pandering to anyone. He isn't trying to single anyone out and make them feel different. He's just saying, look, this is what everybody in this country is supposed to be equal, and this is what I want to do. Now, you can agree or disagree with what he wants to do, and I can understand it, and I get that. But he wants to be able to fix everything for everybody. He doesn't want anybody to get special treatment. And there, you know, this whole notion that blacks have needed special treatment, well, that special treatment hasn't worked over the past 40 years. You know, we've had all kinds of special, and I'm not talking about the Negro College Fund and thing. I'm not talking about blacks helping blacks. That I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about government special assistance and special help and special favor and special protection. And you know, we've had quotas in the form of affirmative action. That hasn't helped. And I know people say, well, it has helped because look, we got Justice Thomas sitting on the Supreme Court. Well, you know, that may have helped him get his foot in the door, but the rest of the way was his. And today, we have lots of African Americans who do not use affirmative action, or who cannot use affirmative action for whatever reason. They still get their foot in the door, and they're still under Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was not an affirmative action president. He wasn't. But the black middle class grew faster under Reagan than at any time under any Democrat previous. Period. Those are the governmental factual stats. And let me tell you, there's been a growth. All the Republicans have to do is just talk to other people, ethnic people, minorities, if you will, just like they talk to everybody else. They want to set themselves apart. If they want blacks and Latinos to come to their aid and come to their side and their way of thinking, just do what Donald Trump does. Talk to them like they're regular people. Because when you do that, you're really going to get people, blacks and Latinos like these two ladies, who are going to open up to that, like that, and feel like they're just like the rest of us, a regular American, No hyphen needed.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
And welcome back, 603-835-3224. You're listening to yours truly, L. Rod of the Rod Eccles Show, otherwise known as the Rod of Truth. Yeah, I didn't make that up, by the way. I know there are probably a lot of new people listening to the program this morning, and I didn't make up any of my nicknames, just to be clear. So whatever, and then they're not. I got some nicknames that are not so flattering either, so I won't repeat them to you. But that's what happens when you're when you are the coolest, most politically incorrect conservative black man on the planet. And key word here is conservative black man. That's a problem for a lot of people on the left. And you know what? Of course, you would expect fellow black folk to try to take me to task for being a conservative. You know, the typical stuff. You know, you're a sellout, you're a coon, you back on the plantation, you're a conservative slave. You know, that kind of stuff. That's out of ignorance, really. It is. And that doesn't really set me off emotionally. I don't really get upset when I hear that. I know that that's there, and I get the brainwashing that has taken place, and we're unbrainwashing, I guess. I guess you could say we're dirtying the minds of African Americans now, because more and more are turning back to Republican ideas and conservative ideas, because that's what we were before LBJ got a hold of us. President Lyndon Johnson. Excuse me, but what gets my gall, what does tick me off, is when I hear white people tell me, especially, rarely do I hear it from a conservative, a white conservative. It's mostly white liberals. And I hear them say, you're a conservative, but you're black. As if my skin color is supposed to dictate my political beliefs. The political beliefs that have been foisted upon the American black people by liberals. I mean, it's just, if you want to look at who the real racists are in this country still, it is the American left. Now, I don't know how many times I've said, and people like Diamond and Silk, they're waking up to that fact. And they are probably more effective in the African American community than I am, simply because, this is not any disrespect to them at all, because they're very intelligent women. And can you imagine if there are more of them like that? Oh my goodness. And if they were all of, wow. that would be awesome, actually. Obviously, that is a TV sitcom right there. Let me tell you that, and that would probably be like the Cosby Show, a #1 show for years and years and years. Because those talk about the energy too, but they're better able, or they've been more successful because they but they sound more like the majority of African Americans. And again, don't take this the wrong way. It has nothing to do with their education level, because obviously, the way they hold themselves, the way they communicate, they're very intelligent ladies. But they have, let me just be blunt, they have that so-called slight urban accent. And other blacks who have that similar accent will pay more attention to them. I do not have that. I mean, I don't know how many times I have been told by people, especially white people, and even some blacks, but I can't tell you how many times I've been told, wow, you don't sound black. No, I guess I don't. But they do. And other blacks pick up on that. So it's the whole. It's kind of like and this is true for any ethnic or non-ethnic regional people. Let me if you go to Texas, somebody from Texas can tell that you're not from Texas. Because what do you do when you go to someplace different? Your ears perk up right away when you hear somebody that sounds exactly like you, because everybody else around you doesn't sound like you. So when a northerner or Yankee, if you will, goes to the deep south, whenever you speak, you stand out like a sore thumb. Just as if a southerner comes with a heavy drawl comes up to the north, they stand out like a sore thumb. And you can see it all the time that when they run here in New England, when a southerner with that southern drawl runs into another southerner, their ears perk up and say, well, subconsciously they say, hey, you're like me. So they pay more attention to them. There have been plenty of studies to show that this is an actual human trait and human fact. Look, politicians know this. The Clintons tried this back in 2007, 2008. Remember when Hillary Clinton was running around, talking to mostly black audiences? I ain't no ways tired. Al Gore did the same thing back in 2000, trying to sound black. Now, I haven't heard a Republican ever do that. I'm not saying that they haven't. I'm just saying when it comes to national politics, I have not heard a Republican trying to sound like somebody he's not. We've had numerous Democrats who've done that. We've even had a Democrat by the name of Senator John Kerry who tried to act like other white people. Can I get me a hunting license or a fishing license? What did he do that? He did that when he was stumping in Ohio, remember? People do not like phony. And when you come across as genuine, they gravitate to you. Even if you do not sound like them. And I got to tell you, Donald Trump is coming across as being very genuine. Now, some of the other Republican candidates, I got to tell you, they have a problem with certain groups of people viewing them as genuine. We hear it all the time. One thing you don't hear about, I know this sounds like I'm supporting Trump, but look, I'm trying to help the other candidates here. And I'm trying to help the other candidate supporters. I do not hear people complaining about Donald Trump as him sounding like he's phony. I got to tell you, I'm hearing that about Cruz. I hear it a lot about Cruz. People do not think he's genuine. Now, he has the ability to turn that around. Cruz is not stupid. But he's got a problem even within his own state. I mean, Mark Cuban is famous now for his tweets against Ted Cruz. He is. Cuban even said, basically, if there's one candidate not to vote for, it would be Ted Cruz. And that's pretty powerful. And the big problem that Cruz has is he does not come across and sound completely genuine. Now, I'm not saying that he isn't. I believe Cruz, for the most part, is. But he doesn't sound it. And frankly, when he went to the Bible Belt, like in Iowa, the evangelical belt, he sounded different than when he came to New Hampshire. People notice that, and they don't like it. That's all I'm saying. They don't think Bush is genuine. They don't like him. And really, yeah, you could say it has something to do, with daddy and brother being president, but it's more than that. Bush had a very tough time in the beginning of his campaign. Nobody thought he had any energy, including myself. Nobody thought that he really wanted it. I didn't think he really wanted to be president either and go through this process. They didn't think he was sincere. Hillary Clinton is having such a hard time, not just because of her email problems, but because the woman just does not sound sincere. That is how Barack Obama really took. Yeah, you can say that it was skin color for Barack, but no, I got to tell you, if you listen to Barack's speeches, people thought he was genuine. That he was, whether or not he was or wasn't is irrelevant. He sounded like he was, and they believed him. Sure, it was shallow, hope and change with no. I love that part, by the way. There you got people talking about, well, Donald isn't being specific on what he wants to do. Really? He's been more specific than Barack Obama was both times Obama ran for office. Especially the first time. Hey, can you define hope and change? Yeah, hope and change is changing for hope. That's it. We're going to fundamentally change this country. Well, what does that mean? But people bought it because he sounded sincere. He sounded genuine. And he was genuine. He really did want to fundamentally change his country. He just didn't want to tell us how he was going to do it. So people are picking up on that on Trump. And to a degree, I think people are picking up on that with Rubio. Rubio, his only problem is that he is politically on the national stage inexperienced. And this may be too soon for him to run. It may be. Maybe he needed to be a VP first. To get 4 or 8 years as a VP under his belt. Because he's made a lot of noob mistakes on the campaign trail. He has. Now, obviously, just because you do sound sincere and genuine doesn't mean you're going to get support. I mean, Carly Fiorina and Dr. Carson are perfect examples of that. But let me tell you, when you get up there and you're trying to garner a lot of support, you have got to at least sound genuine and be believable. And right now, Cruz is having a big problem with that. Hillary Clinton is having a big problem with that. Sanders sounds very honest, trustworthy, and genuine. He's still the same. When the guy came onto the scene in 80 or 81 or 82, somewhere around there, when he was elected mayor of Burlington, Vermont, if you go back and listen and read some of the stuff that he wrote and said back then, he's the same guy today as he was back then. Yeah, Sanders is genuine. He's sincere in his message. That's the problem with him, basically, but that's one of the reasons why he's garnering so much support. And Hillary isn't. That's why Hillary's stumbling. She's viewed as insincere, untrustworthy, and a liar. And people are seeing through her you got Bill up there talking about, Look, I think one of the problems that Hillary had back in 2008 is when Bill was trying to stop the bleeding in her first attempt, her first campaign. by saying that Barack Obama's presidential ambitions were a fairy tale. And he alluded to the fact that Barack Obama wouldn't be the first black president, that he was. Now, he didn't say that, but he definitely alluded to it. And that turned a lot of people off. Because they already knew that Hillary she already had a trustworthiness and a genuineness problem. And Bill just compounded that. Which is really kind of strange because people actually believe Bill was, when he was running for president, as being genuine and sincere. Now, obviously, we know history tells us that he wasn't really all that sincere, but he definitely sounded that way. And if you want to get ahead in politics and get the masses of people to support you and support you fervently, you've got to at least convince them that you are sincere, even if you are not. Now, I'm not saying that Trump is not sincere because, again, look at what he says and look at what he's doing. That's been Trump since I first started paying attention to him back going all the way back. Read his books. Listen to some of his, or watch some of his interviews that he's done. For me, even going back into the 80s, Trump is still Trump. He's got a long history of who he is, and so when he's out there on the stump, people are saying, "Well, geez, he sounds exactly the same as he did when he wasn't running." Yeah, he's changed his positions on a few things. He's gone from being more liberal on certain social issues to being more conservative. And I don't think anybody's really saying that Donald Trump is a true conservative. He's a populist, much like Buchanan. But let me tell you, there's nobody that is denying or questioning Donald Trump's sincerity. There's nobody questioning Bernie Sanders' sincerity. But people are questioning Hillary Clinton and Ted Cruz's sincerity. If you're a Cruz fan, if you're this is directed at Mark Levin. If you're a Cruz fan, man, you got to tell him to work on that, because he may be completely and totally 100% sincere, but people are having trouble believing it, and the numbers show it. I'm not just because he went into Iowa and sounded like Iowans. Yeah, they trusted him. But now the problem is the rest of America has seen what he did in Iowa, and that's reflected here in New Hampshire. And I'm sorry, third place finish with 12% of the vote was not a victory for Cruz. I don't care if he only spent $580,000. That was not a victory. Especially when Donald Trump got 36%. Because you have to remember, even in Iowa, when Donald Trump didn't come across as an evangelical, he still got 24% to Cruz's 28%. There's no comparison. None. Just saying on that one, folks. I mean, I know I'm probably gonna get hit by the Cruz people. Look, if you want to throw sling some arrows at me, fine, go ahead. But this has nothing to do with me, and you guys better, all of you people, for all the candidates, I don't care who you're supporting, you better understand that when you're listening to this program, it's not, I know I say it's about me, but it's not about me. It's about this country. And I'm telling you what other people are seeing and hearing and feeling. And you can ignore that at your own peril. You can't be blinded by your undying devotion and love to one man. By the way, might I add, if you are an evangelical, or you say you're a solid Christian, do you realize that your devotion to him is a sin? God made it specifically clear. You do not give your devotion to any man. Your devotion is only to God. And so when you have this vitriol for other people when they don't support your candidate, you are actually sinning. And that's such. I understand that you may think that he is. I know Rush Limbaugh just said, yeah. What did he say yesterday? In his program yesterday, that Cruz is the closest one in the race to Reagan. I get that. I understand it. And if you actually want to say that as far as full-on conservatism and full-on constitutionalism, yeah, there's no argument. Cruz seems to be the guy. He's your guy. But if you want to look at the entire picture about who has a better plan of turning the ship around, well, a lot of people don't think that's Cruz. And I know I always say vote for the most conservative person that's available to you that can win. That's probably a key. Now, can Cruz win? Let me be frank. Out of the top three candidates, I think all three of them, Rubio, Cruz, and Trump, I think all three of them can win the presidency. I think Cruz would have the hardest time, though. Mainly because of that lack of belief and sincerity in him. See, when it comes down to it, you have to play to people's emotions. Unfortunately, as much as I would like all of this to be logical, based on logic, it's not. Politics is highly emotional. It's highly based on things that you can't touch or see, like belief. And out of the top three, I think Cruz has the most trouble with all of that. Logically speaking, yeah, Cruz probably should be the guy. But when it comes to people actually pulling the lever and voting for someone, they do it based on emotion. And they do it based on who they believe. Who they feel in their gut has their best interest at heart. And I'm telling you, Cruz is having a hard time convincing people that he's the one. Donald Trump, on the other hand, sure, he has his detractors and his naysayers, but look at the support that he's getting, and you can see that basically the voter, the public, is buying into him big time. Right or wrong, they are. And you've got to understand that is the dynamic at work. You have to get to people's feelings. You have to get people to believe that you are sincere. If you do not, they will look for somebody else who they do believe is sincere, because that is what happened to Hillary Clinton when Barack Obama came on the scene in 2008. They did not believe that Hillary was sincere. They did believe, right or wrong, they did believe that Barack Obama was. And this is the same thing that's happening with Ted Cruz via Donald Trump now. And you Cruz people have better understand that and get on the ball, or you're not going to win.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Starting to get a little confused out there looking at some of these so-called conservative people and conservative stuff who are trying to tell us who is conservative and who isn't and who we should be voting for or supporting and that kind of thing. And one of the things I found confusing is a conservative review. Now, there would be you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody who would say that conservative review is not conservative. But I'm having a hard time reading their grading system on the different candidates. Now, one of the things that it has, well, evidently, if you're going by the conservative review and their scoring, excuse me, then it looks like they're all in the bag for Cruz. Okay. And you can say, okay, yeah, they're accurate. On Cruz and his conservatism on many of the main issues. They give him a mixed score on free markets. But when it comes to that, I mean, I'm looking at all across about all the candidates, the ones that were that are still in the race and the ones that have already dropped out. And when it comes to things like foreign policy, well, they give Trump high scores in foreign policy and diplomacy, but we're told that we can't have Donald Trump on dealing with foreign policy. I mean, Cruz is the one that said, well, we wake up one morning and find out that he's nuked Denmark. Well, evidently, conservative review says that wouldn't happen with Donald. He's just as good on foreign policy as Kasich and Cruz, according to conservative review. But when it comes to civil liberties, I'm scratching my head. They give Trump a poor rating on civil liberties. But they also give that to Rand Paul. And I'm scratching my head trying to figure out, how could you not give Rand Paul anything but, I mean, if there's anybody who's probably, well, he's wrong on certain aspects of it, but if there's anybody who's that's more constitutional than Cruz, it would be Rand Paul. So how would you say, the one person who is probably more constitutionally conservative than Cruz, how could you possibly say that Rand Paul is worse for civil liberties than Ted Cruz? I'm scratching my head on that kind of stuff. And now I know why Donald Trump is probably getting poor marks, because he's been all over the board on some of the civil liberty issues. And yes, abortion is one of those. He was against it before, or he was for it before he was against it. That type of thing. Yeah, he's on record as having, and he's got a sibling that, a family member that I think that he said that he would appoint her or nominate her for the Supreme Court that is, pro-choice, which really turns out to be pro-abortion. Now Trump has said that he's done a flip on that, and he gave his reasons for doing that, and that happens to a lot of people when it comes to the abortion issue, and it happens with a lot of things. Hey, we even have that old saying, which has some truth to it. If by the time you're in college you're not a liberal, you have no heart, but if by the time you're 30 you're not a conservative, you have no brain. It means people can grow. As they get more life experience, they grow. And you have to allow for people to make life changes. Because there are very few people that believe exactly the same way, when they're 60 as they did when they were 20. Look, I've always said I've always been a conservative, but I got to tell you, I am more conservative today than I was when I was 20. So that happens, and we've got to allow for that time. When a change is sincere, we have to allow for it, because life is about changing. And I really, I get upset with people about any candidate who they say, well, 20 years ago they said this. Well, that's 20 years ago. They can change. Life has a way of changing people, changing their beliefs, changing their habits. All kinds of changes can be made. And for you to go back and say, what you have to look at is, have they kept that consistent thought process up? Bernie Sanders, he was a socialist 30 years ago. He was a socialist 20 years ago. He was a socialist 10 years ago. He was a socialist a year ago. So you can look at that long history and say, well, he hasn't really changed. Okay, then you can say that. But just to pick one particular, part of a person's life and say, well, you said this back then, that's not giving humans, and all politicians are humans, it's not giving them the ability to be able to change. Hell, you've changed positions on things, I am sure. It's just the way we are. Welcome back, folks. It is I, your lovable host, L. Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, where the state motto is still live free or die. It is not big government or bust, and yes, I did check again today, and it is still live free or die. Here on this Thursday morning, February the 11th, the year of our Lord 2016. And, of course, the call-in number is 603-835-3224. Again, the call-in number is 603-835-3224. Sanders had a meeting yesterday with Sharpton, with the Reverend Al Sharpton. And, you can only imagine what the conversation about. We know what the conversation was about. Bernie was pandering for his support in order to get the black vote. Now, this has got to really tick off Bill and Hillary. Let's face it. If Sharpton were not even considering to do such a thing, he wouldn't have taken the meeting with Sanders. So that has got to tick off Billary something awful. But then you also got to wonder, well, Sanders is a person that touts that he's not going to pander, that he can't be bought, and he's not going to do things the way other politicians do. But frankly, I know maybe I'm wrong in this, but just looking at the history of Al Sharpton, again, he could change, but yesterday he was still the same person. if Sanders is true to his word and true to who he is and true to his being, and Sharpton is true to his being, the only way, really, that Sharpton is going to fully endorse Sanders and try to convince other blacks to do the same thing is if Sanders buys him off and gives him something. But that's against Sanders' nature, or at least his stated sincere belief. So this is quite interesting. I would have loved to have been a fly on the table to have listened in on that conversation. I just, because he went to Harlem, and he went into Sylvia's restaurant in Harlem, which is a neighborhood section of New York City. Yeah, I don't even know how Harlem's just a few blocks big. I don't know how many people. I don't know how many people actually populate Harlem. But you know, New York has. For those of you who don't know or don't understand, because I know that you hear all these different things about. Well, it's Manhattan, it's Brooklyn, it's Soho, it's Greenwich Village, it's Harlem, it's it's the East Side, West. These are all because the city is so populous. What is it? Over 8 million people now live in New York City, and it's made up of what we call boroughs, 5 of them, and individually. I think Brooklyn. If Brooklyn were a city all by itself, it would be one of the country's top 5 largest or top 10 largest cities, along with Manhattan. Manhattan's the same. Manhattan's just huge. So things are broken up into these neighborhoods or communities, basically. Just think of community in your area. You have certain communities. Even if you live in a small town, you may have certain sections of town that certain people live, and certain sections of town that other people live. So it's the communities. So Harlem is nothing more than a neighborhood or a community. And Harlem is traditionally, well, not traditionally, but I guess you could say traditionally. I mean, it doesn't go way back to the beginnings of New York City, obviously, but traditionally over the past few decades has been traditionally mostly populated by blacks. I know, Bill Clinton once, I don't think he still has his office there, but he had his office when he first left the presidency and moved to New York. He set up an office in Harlem. Because Harlem is where I can get a hold of all those beautiful black girls. Yeah, I tell you, that's why I say I'm the first black president, because I love black people. I love black women. I just love Hillary I always told Hillary that she needed to get a dark tan, but she never did. She never dyed her hair black. I'm not into blondes all that much. I don't know, but she just would. I even asked her. I bought her a wig once. She threw it at me. Yeah, the wig. Yeah, it was black. It was a black hair wig. I tell you, I tried to fulfill my fantasy with that woman, but she just wasn't having it. So in order to fulfill my fantasy, I had to move to Harlem. Well, I couldn't move there, but I could put my office there. Yeah. Don't listen to people though. Some people say I slept in my office. No, I didn't. I did not sleep in that office with that woman or any woman or no woman. I slept at home. If anybody asks, that's where I was. I was at home, sleeping, by myself. Well, when Hillary was there, she was with me, but she's hardly ever there, so I was by myself. Nobody came to my house in Chappaqua. No, nobody came. Just me. Secret Service. I'm just telling you, just me. That woman didn't come, and that woman didn't come over either. No, I didn't have anybody over. No, nobody at all. They were all in my office. No, wait, during the day. They came to my office during the day. When other people were in the office, because I wasn't in there by myself. Well, I mean, there were more than 2 of us. You know what I'm saying. I'm innocent, I tell you. Hillary's guilty. So he's over there in Harlem. And some say pandering to Sanders, or pandering to Sharpton. But I don't know how a person panders if he doesn't have anything that he's willing to offer. And I don't think black folk are all that interested or tuned into socialism and communism, because let's face it, in communistic countries, ethnic people fare less well than the general majority population of that particular country. So look at communism in China. You have the Uyghurs who are Asiatic, yes, but they're not considered to be Chinese, and they don't do so well over there. Now, granted, the Uyghurs are Islamic, generally speaking, but they just don't do very well over there in communist China. They're worse off over there than you probably know. You want to talk about pre-civil 60s civil rights in America for blacks? That's what the Uyghurs are going through about right now. You remember those Uyghurs that were in Guantanamo Bay that Obama tried to release? Their home country was China. They could not go back. Now, where was the outrage in that? If African Americans were caught overseas doing some terroristic activity, and then finally they were going to be released to come back home, and America said, the United States says, no, we won't take them back, there would be outrage. Outrage. But no, China, the communists did that, and you hardly heard a peep. But so I'm really curious as to what Bernie could be offering. Really, I mean, sure you're going to have the talking points. Hey, Mr. Sharpton, you need to get out the African American vote because high voter turnout is going to help me, and blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff, and it'll help blacks. But Sharpton is thinking, well, what's in it for me? That's his history. I'm sorry. Not sorry for telling the truth, but that's his history. Sharpton's history has been with him. What's in it for me? And Sanders' history is, the only thing in it for you is what's in it for everybody else. You get nothing special. And Sharpton is probably saying, well, I always get something special. So it's interesting to see how that was going to end up working. So I don't look because if you look at the black support for Trump, is Trump pandering? Is he offering African Americans anything special over anybody else? No, he's not. And he doesn't need to pander to them. And yet he's getting their support. So you can see Sanders, being who he is, saying, well, I'm not going to give you anything other than what I'm offering to everybody. And he could probably point to Trump and say, look, Trump is getting, blacks, man. You got to stop the bleeding because they're going over to Trump. So come on, you can say something to help me out here, right? And Sharpton is just sitting. I know he is sitting there and saying, well, what am I going to get out of it? And now, understand, really, because Sanders isn't rich. Sanders doesn't, by a thinking man's standards, Sanders isn't a wealthy man. He is making, $174,000 a year, though, which is a good salary being a senator. But he isn't a wealthy man. He doesn't own any businesses. Not that I know of. Sanders doesn't own businesses, right? No, he doesn't. His wife doesn't own anything either, does she? That's side note here. Now, usually in presidential politics, we see a lot of the spouse. As a matter of fact, oftentimes, even during the primary process, we see the spouses of the presidential candidates often stumping for their husband. That has been noticeably missing this time around for just about every candidate. Think about that for a second. I'm not saying that you don't see them at all, and I'm not saying that they're not out there speaking and stomping, but there has been no national attention paid to anybody's spouse. I mean, even though you had that brief brouhaha over Melania, some of Melania's modeling day pictures before she met the Donald, she's not out there. She's not in the news. Cruz's wife, not in the news. Rubio's wife, not in the news. The only person that is in the news, you don't see Sanders' wife. The only person that is in the news that you see, and they're having the most difficult time when they should be winning, is the Clintons. Bill's out there, and yet Hillary's having a terrible time. Jeb Bush, you see more of his mother, Barbara Bush, than you do of Bush's wife. I mean, this is an interesting thing here. I mean, has anybody else noticed this? I don't know what that says. I don't know what it really means, other than the fact, because let's face it, when we heard a lot from Obama's wife Michelle, back in 2008 and again in 12. And we actually heard a lot from Mitt Romney's wife in 12. Even when he was still trying to get the nomination, when it was still in the primary process. But this time around, you barely see any of these women. I mean, it seems like they've taken a page out of the McCain campaign because, Sarah would talk about the first hunk, her husband Todd, but you hardly heard or saw him. I just think it's interesting. I mean, you've probably heard more from Ivanka Trump, Trump's daughter, than you've heard from any of the wives of any of the candidates, other than Hillary's. That's. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that's saying. I'll have to think about this one and really review it, because it's just something that came to me on the air with you people while talking about this, and I don't. There's a significant void there, folks. There really is. Again, I don't know what that really says, but we're gonna have to find out. We're gonna have to get to the bottom of this. I intend to get to the bottom of this. Post haste. Well, not right at this particular instant. Not at this instant. You know what? I'm going to do something again that I don't normally do, but I want to do it. Well, I'm doing it because I should. Because all those in the know say that I should. And I've resisted to this point, but, maybe look, you always defer to somebody who knows more or has more experience in a particular field than you do. So I have to defer to these people. And that is a little bit of self-promotion here. And I'm only doing it because I'm proud of all this stuff. RodEccles.net is a page that I'm very proud of. And I continually look for ways to improve it, add to it, make it easier to navigate, give you more information, make more information available over there. RodEccles.net is a great website, even if I do say so myself, and you really should visit it. It is the hub, the central hub, the HQ of everything Rod Eccles Show, and having to do with everything that I do surrounding the show, from speaking engagements to all the social media that's out there. If you want to get hooked up to my different social media platforms, RodEccles.net is a place to go, and you'll be able to get to test out places like the fan page over on Facebook or the Twitter feed, or other things like that, or articles and where they're being published. But really, folks, you really need to go to RodEccles.net. It isn't loaded up with a bunch of commercials and ads either, by the way. So that should be refreshing to you. RodEccles.net. Visit it today, please.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, franzblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
Welcome back. 603-835-3224 is the number to call. Jamming out. Maybe I should do a workout audio. You can work out to me every morning before you listen to the program, because the goal of this program is to become your new established morning routine. 9 to noon every weekday morning. That's all I ask. Just 3 hours a day. I'm not asking for much. Not a whole heck of a lot. Well, I do ask that you tell your family, friends, and coworkers, and that if you are listening at work on your pewter at work, turn up the volume. You wanna annoy your liberal friends, your liberal coworkers. Well, if your boss is a lib, and you want to keep your job, then you probably don't want to turn it up so your boss can hear it. But hey, your coworker, or if you are the boss, turn it up. Let everybody in the office hear it. I guarantee I'm going to tick off some. If you want to get rid of an employee who happens to be liberal, just put me on. They'll get tired after a while and leave on their own. You won't have to worry about it. just saying. Think about Rod gets people to quit their jobs. Yeah, I'm not into firing people. We don't want to fire people over their political stances. I mean, that's wrong, actually, no matter what. Whether left or right or middle of the road, doesn't matter. It's wrong to fire somebody over their political beliefs. Well, is it okay then to fire them over their religious beliefs? It's okay to hire them, not to hire them because of their religious beliefs. Now, this is not exactly what the subject did, but now that I just brought it up, it wasn't something that I was going to cover, but this whole notion that we have religious freedom in this country now obviously has been turned on its head. Because you have some on the left who are humanist, atheist, governmentalist. Yeah, believing in the government is now a religion, folks. I mean, I'm sorry, it is. I mean, look, you're seeing everybody now, all those wonderful millennials, worshiping at the altar of Bernie Sanders' socialism. It's a religion. Because what is the definition of a religion? When you tell somebody what you believe to be the actual facts, but their faith tells them that their faith is right. That's religion. Let me give you an example. If you know, or if you believe that 2 + 2 is 5, I know this is very simplistic, but you'll fully understand what I'm saying here. If you believe by faith and faith alone that 2 + 2 is 5, if somebody comes to you and says, I have irrefutable proof that 2 + 2 is 4, because of your faith and your religion, you will continue to believe that it's 5. Now, I know some people are saying, well, that's the Christians in evolution. No, it's not, because evolution is far from ever have been proved. First, it's a theory for one, and it's a theory that has actually been scientifically disproven. It has never been scientifically proved. There was a meme today I saw today on Facebook that shows, the theory of evolution has been. We've got all kinds of evidence to support the theory of evolution. No, we don't, because most of the stuff that they were showing in that meme has already been disproven. It's been shown to be fake or manufactured or misread. There was a set of bones talking about it was post-Neanderthal, in between Neanderthal and humankind. And because they said, well, the carbon dating was this age. And I remember it was about a year and a half ago when they did some more they did 3 more carbon datings on it and found out that the bones were not falling within the time period that they originally said. But they're still using that stuff to help them prove the theory of evolution. It's kind of like the opposite end is global warming. Now, we've got all kinds of scientific evidence and data that shows that man is not the cause of the current climate change. But people believe it because they want to believe it, because that is what their faith dictates to them. Their religion dictates that they believe this. Now, yeah, I mean, you can always say that religion also gets stuff right. Yeah, it does. It does. When you have a real religion and it's based on real historical data, it goes beyond faith. Now, we know that every time they try to disprove it, we know that the Bible, the Old Testament and New Testament, we find out every time they just try to disprove it historically, that we find out that it is more accurate than we originally thought. The Bible is by far an historical document. And it's been proven over and over. Look, I remember that there was an archaeologist that was going out there to try to disprove part of the story of Moses, because he said there was no city of Ramses where the Bible said the city was. And not only was there no city of Ramses where the Bible said the city of Ramses was, the Egyptians at that time did not have masses and masses of chariots like the Bible says they did. And then all of a sudden, not only did this archaeologist who set out to disprove that story of Moses, not only did he find the city of Ramses located exactly where the Bible said it was supposed to have been located, but he also found horse stables. He found enough horse stables to more than support the notion in the Bible that Ramses went after him with nothing but chariots, hordes and hordes of chariots. Because before they thought, well, chariots were only used for high-ranking officials and military personnel. It wasn't for regular, everyday military. But they found enough horse stables to support a number of chariots for everyday soldiers. Interesting. But then we get to global warming. And we disprove global warming, man-made global warming, or man-made climate change, and people say, well, no, it's still accurate. It's still accurate. Where's the data? You keep telling us that we have got to prove other religious beliefs. But when we disprove your religious belief, you're still going to tell me that it's still accurate? When we prove that much of the documentation has been falsified, you're still going to tell me that your theory is accurate. When we have disproven by reason of the evidence is now being shown to be faked or misread, you're still going to believe in evolution. Well, actually, I think that goes beyond religion and faith right there. I think that's just insanity. Just insanity. But so do you really have religious freedom in this country anymore? I mean, if you're a well, for some people, yes, they have religious freedom. If you're a Christian who doesn't want to support or believe in homosexuality or homosexual marriage, you will be sued and ordered by the state to fulfill the wishes of the homosexual community. But that's just Christians. I have yet to see any LGBT group or community sue Muslims. Why is that? No, instead, you see pictures of obvious homosexual people, marching in gay prides, holding up signs in support of Islam. Christians do not throw homosexuals off of the roofs of 8-story or 10-story buildings. They don't hang them for being suspected of committing sodomy. Whether or not they did it, they're just suspected. They get hung. I don't see Christians out there condemning suspected homosexual teenagers, boys, not even 18, condemning them to death and then going ahead and executing them. I don't see Christians doing that. But we know Islam has done that because they've even taped it and broadcast those executions. We've seen them toss people off buildings. But yet it's Christians that get sued. It's Christians that are told, well, you don't have religious freedom because it interferes with my rights, with my freedom to get anything I want. You don't have a right to get anything you want from somebody else. Let me be clear on that. You don't. You don't have a right to walk into somebody's business and demand that they serve you. You don't have that right. Now, for the life of me, what I don't, and it goes beyond this, obviously, because otherwise, logically speaking, there is no possible way that would make any logical sense for you to give your hard-earned money to somebody who you claim hates you. If you are a homosexual and you want to get married, why would you demand that a Christian anti-homosexual should cater your wedding? Why would you want to give them thousands of dollars to cater your wedding? Why would you want to give that photographer hundreds of dollars to take pictures of your wedding? That makes absolutely no sense, because they're obviously going to take that money, take the profit and the proceeds, and probably support causes that are not in your best interest. Kind of like Chick-fil-A. Remember that? Remember that? Oh yeah, we should boycott. How come we didn't go ahead and sue Chick-fil-A? No, they were talking about boycotting Chick-fil-A. And well, basically, logically speaking, that is what you do. You cut off their supply of money so they can't support things that you don't like. But when it comes to small Christian businesses, oh, no. It doesn't matter if you have a choice of going someplace else, even to places that might even be owned by gays. I don't know why you don't go to a gay-owned caterer or a gay photographer. Why would you sue and force a small business Christian person to take your money? That's like an African American walking into a KKK restaurant and demanding that they serve them the best meal that they have, knowing that he's going to take that money from you and then use it to promote his KKK agenda. Blacks don't knowingly do that kind of stuff because that makes no sense. So I don't fully understand why we're going down that road of anti-freedom. Well, I do understand, because it's all about deconstructing. Look, what we have now is we have people from the middle to the left who are trying to deconstruct the Constitution. And that's why you have a lot of people who are standing up for more constitutionalists. I know Rand Paul didn't quite make it, but you're looking at people like Donald Trump and Ted Cruz who want to limit, at least to some degree, limit the power of the federal government. Because the federal government has overstepped its authority. Its authority, as far as the Constitution is concerned. And what you have on the left and in the middle is a bunch of people who are advocating basically shredding the Constitution, saying screw it, and enlarging government to such a point where it takes over everybody's life. And surprisingly, you have way too many people who are supporting that, by the way. Way too many of the electorate who support such nonsense. I mean, look at everybody who's supporting Sanders. I mean, come on. Sanders is advocating government that takes care of you from the womb to the tomb. But with that, we know the bigger government gets, the less freedom you have. And the government starts to pick the winners and losers and who gets to have free thought and who doesn't. So right now what the government is telling the American people is that Muslims have free religious thought. Christians do not. And I want to admonish you Jews because you're allowing this to happen. Now, do you remember what happened to you? Not just in Nazi Germany, but throughout your long history. You have been persecuted. You're probably one of the most persecuted groups of people on the planet. Because not only were you persecuted in your own home territory, you've been persecuted all over the planet, no matter where you go, no matter where other conquering groups have sent you, you've been persecuted in those new areas. And yet you're going to sit by and allow and even promote and advocate for people, liberals, who are persecuting Christians right here in this country. Forget the rest of the world, right here. And you're going to allow them not to do the same thing or take the same stance or run by the same rules for those people, Islam, Muslims, who want to kill you. How does that make any sense? If I were a Jew, I'd be standing up and saying, wait a minute. Why are you doing that to Christians when you're not doing that to Muslims? In fact, you want to promote Islam government, which they are doing. You can't say Jesus in most public schools across this country, but in some of these same public schools that say you cannot say the word or the name Jesus or pray in his name are teaching kids to pray the Islamic way. And for so-called experiments, which we found out are basically forcing girls to wear the stupid burqa or hijab. They're not wearing the full burqa, the scarf around the hair. It's just insane. I don't. Just some of those things that I think about that just don't make any logical sense whatsoever. No sense. Bloomberg.com. Now this is probably going to upset some of you, and I'm not intending to upset any of you, but just by the very nature. Look, I didn't write this story, by the way. So it is not my fault if it does upset you. But Bloomberg has a story. They did a focus group. And it appears this focus group has basically said that a Trump nomination, coronation, whatever you want to call it, is inevitable. And this is in a South Carolina focus group, where the next Republican primary is. Trump is inevitable. that's pretty interesting, don't you think? You got people who don't necessarily fully support Trump, and they took, let's face it, Bloomberg is not a Trump fan. The business Bloomberg, they're not. It's kind of like they're kind of like NBC, CBS, all those kind. They're not Trump fans. But be that as it may, you got people down there that are saying that, yeah, hey, this Trump thing, it's inevitable, man. It's inevitable. And this was in a Bloomberg Politics Purple Strategies focus group yesterday. South Carolina Republican voters praised Ted Cruz for being trustworthy and religious, while Donald Trump was described merely as brave but crass. Now, most of the participants who said that they were either undecided or could not change their mind before Election Day still said the New York billionaire had the best chance of winning their state's primary on February 20th. Now, the participants in this Purple Strategies focus group were from Columbia, South Carolina area and represented a variety of ages and socioeconomic and educational backgrounds. All respondents said they are registered Republicans and likely to vote in the state's Republican presidential primary on the 20th. Now, when recruited, 7 of the respondents said they were undecided, and the 3 remaining respondents reported leaning towards a candidate but say they could change their mind before the primary. Now, obviously, you're only talking about a small group. But when you're looking at people who are undecided, and there is still a lot of people, a lot of Americans, a lot of Republicans who are undecided. This is where I admonish, you rabid Cruz and Trump supporters. Now, trust me, Diamond and Silk are not rabid Trump supporters. The rabid Trump supporters and the rabid Cruz supporters, and to a much lesser degree the rabid Rubio supporters, they're the ones that try to belittle other people. That doesn't win the undecided to your candidate. You have to be out there promoting what you believe that your candidate is for. Not that somebody's a total idiot because they haven't come around to thinking the way you're thinking right now and support your particular candidate. That turns other people off big time. And I don't want to sound anti-Cruz, but I get more vitriol. From Cruz supporters because I will not openly say that I support Cruz. And I get people, I get stuff like, I thought you were smart. You're an idiot. You're no better than a Democrat. I've gotten all that kind of stuff from Cruz supporters. That's not winning me over to support Cruz, really. And if I have a strong mind to only try to stick to the facts and be logical, can you imagine people who don't do that, which is the vast majority of voters? You're turning them off to your candidate of choice. I don't know. Well, I know I can't win because I'm accused of being a Trump supporter by Cruz people, and I'm being accused of being a Cruz supporter by Trump people, and I'm being accused of totally ignoring Rubio by Rubio supporters. I'm like, what is this? I have never come out and said who I supported. I thought I've been fairly equal and fair across the board, good and bad, positive and negative, with all the candidates. But you rabid people are missing the point that I keep warning you about. Your candidate is going to lose if you turn off people. You're going to need to turn around and start telling people why you support your candidate.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Sign him up for the Box of Bait Club and he'll never be hungry again. The Box of Bait Club is a brand new dream come true for every fisherman. Something new and different in your tackle box every month. Every month, another excuse to get outside and do what you love. Don't let this one get away. The Box of Bait Club is currently accepting a limited number of pre-orders with subscriptions starting at $39.95 per month. Find out more now. Log on to boxofbaitclub.com.
I'm just so happy my father had a chance to see his kids before he passed. I just want to say thank you.
When her father fell ill, the American Red Cross was able to help get Veronica's brother home from the Navy to speak to his father one last time. It's thanks to your donations that we can connect military families when they need it most. Please donate today at redcross.org.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000? Or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company, General Steel.
800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. 800-393-5756. That's 800-393-5756.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. 800-989-1694. Again, 800-989-1694.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show, the fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio. Can't believe we're already in hour number 3. Here it is, still broadcasting live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire, with the state motto of live free or die, not big government or bust. Of course, still the call-in number, 603-835-3224. Again, I want to thank Diamond and Silk for being on the program earlier this morning. They said they are currently down in South Carolina, stomping for Trump. And look, let me be clear on this. Cruz people need their own Diamond and Silk. Rubio people need their own Diamond and Silk. They're not. Did you hear them attack anybody? Did you hear them? Have you ever heard them call anybody? And I gave them ample opportunity to call somebody else a name. They didn't do that. You know, people who are supporting other candidates. They didn't do that. What they promote is what they believe is Donald Trump's positives, why they follow him. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is exactly what all the other candidates and you Trumpites out there who are not doing what these two ladies are doing, you need to do that. All of you other candidates candidate supporters need to do the same thing. If you're going to win, they are winning Trump the African American vote. I'm telling you right now they are. And the rest of you are not. If you don't like Trump, man, you had better get on the bandwagon and start touting the positives of your candidate in order to get people to come to your side. Because your negativity is not working. Case in point, you got the establishment now who's heading south into South Carolina from New Hampshire, and they don't have a plan to stop Trump. Let me give you a plan. Let me give you the plan to stop Trump. Stop focusing on Trump. That's the plan. Now, I probably shouldn't be telling you this. I'm sure there are plenty of Trump people out there who are going to lambaste me for telling you this strategy. Don't focus on Trump. You need to focus on the candidates of your choice. You need to stop attacking each other and each other's supporters and start trying to convince them that why you're better than the other person. And don't focus on Trump. I don't know why you haven't gotten that already. The more people have tried to focus on him and try to bring him down and try to attack him, the greater his support gets.
Do you not understand that? I know it's an enigma because this type of vitriol has seemed to have always worked in the past, but it's not working now. It's not going to work anymore. You gotta stop. I'm imploring you to stop. Because frankly, if you're for one of the outsider guys, and people consider Cruz and Rubio to be, two of the guys who are on the outside. If you're for the outside guys, then why are you using the tactics of the insiders? It's obviously not working for the insiders. Here's another story from Bloomberg. And this is from Bloomberg. Bloomberg, not a conservative ragmag at all. Republican elites are 0 for 2 in the presidential nominating contest this year. A rare and panic-inducing outcome for the party's leadership. Yet their preferred candidates, Rubio, Kasich, Bush, they continue to bash and fight each other. I get their strategy, but it's not working for them. Their strategy is, well, if I can knock out these other people, then I'm going to be in a position to coalesce and get the support when I knock them out, to get their supporters to come and support me, and then that's how we'll take out Trump. You're focusing on Trump again. And you're focusing on it at the expense of other fellow candidates and their supporters. Look, here's the deal. Now, I'm already hearing people grumbling about this and saying, well, if Cruz isn't the nominee, I'm not voting. Why? And when I ask that question, I say, Cruzite. I know Trump is not nearly as conservative as Cruz is, or nearly as conservative as maybe is even minimally that you would like. But if he's the nominee and this guy could possibly win, why wouldn't you vote for him? And 9 times out of 10, they always tell me, which is really kind of hypocritical, by the way, but they tell me it's simply because of the Trumpite supporters. They're jerks. They believe this guy is a god, and he's not. Well, by the same token, get a bunch of Trump people, rabid Trump supporters. I say, well, hey, what if Trump loses steam? The train runs out of gas, and Cruz ends up getting it. Well, they claim they're not going to vote for Cruz either because that means that the establishment wanted Cruz, and they don't like Cruz supporters, who are nothing but establishment people. Like, are you kidding me? So basically, what these people are telling you, these supporters are telling you, and they're being hypocritical in that particular case in point, but what they're telling us is that this infighting, this bickering, this bitterness is turning them off from the other candidates. Do you realize that? And I got to tell you, this whole Rubio needs to. He's starting to gain popularity, but he's going to run into a brick wall. And you would think that he understood that at his showing in New Hampshire. He didn't do so well. And he simply didn't do so well simply because of this vitriol. And it turns off the voter. And so what do they do when they're going into Carolina? Look, Bush isn't gaining. Kasich really, I know Kasich is emboldened because he thinks, well, yeah, I came in second place. And look, you got 16% to Trump's 36%. He more than doubled your support. If you want to beat this guy, the way to beat him is really, I mean, and one of the reasons why Kasich did so well in this state, I can tell you why, is because wherever he went, and whenever you heard one of his TV or radio spots, he was touting positivity about himself. He did not go negative on any candidate. Did you hear what I said? Kasich didn't go negative on anybody. And he was able to outdraw from everybody else except for Trump, who went negative on other candidates. And Cruz, I got to tell Cruz people, Cruz said that he was going to run a positive campaign. But he's allowed himself time and time again to attack Trump. Regardless of whether or not Trump comes out swinging at him every once in a while, Cruz went against his own words. People do not like that. You know, one of Cruz's commercials says, the reason why people like me is because when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do exactly what I tell you I'm going to do. Well, he said that he was not going to fight Trump, or he wasn't going to go negative on Trump or anybody else. And what does he do? He goes negative on Trump. That's a problem for people. That's when they look at you as not being sincere. And I told you earlier today that Cruz has an issue with sincerity with people. Now, frankly, I believe that people think that Kasich is sincere. I don't like his brand of politics and his beliefs, frankly. But look, Christie tried to do the same thing. He tried to start, at first he was very positive, and then he tried to go negative, and he went negative on Rubio. Well, now he's out of the race because it doesn't work. Maybe it's worked in the past, but ever since Donald Trump got into this race, back in the spring, all the old standby political tricks have not worked. Look, they're not even working for Clinton. Those old standby tricks aren't even working for Clinton. This is a totally different election, folks. The old way of doing things, the American people, the voters have basically said, we're tired of it. We're not going to buy into it anymore. We're done with it. And those people who continue to stick to those old ways, which have not worked at all in this campaign since the spring, they're not doing so well. And the person that they fear the most, that they keep attacking, is doing the best. And yet you're not getting it through your thick heads that you got to stop the old tactics that aren't working. Just giving you a little bit of campaigning advice here. If you want to stop the Trumpster, you got to go positive. And you got to be sincere about going positive. And you got to start winning across the political aisle. Because let me tell you something. When you go into states for primaries that are open primaries, meaning that independents and Democrats can vote in a Republican primary, you other candidates on the Republican ticket are going to be in a very difficult position because Trump is already drawing from the center and the left. You hear what I'm saying? And this has nothing to do with me supporting Trump, because I never have said I did. Plain and simple. I'm telling you the facts. The facts are Trump is drawing from everywhere. He's drawing from all age groups.
all socioeconomic groups. Rich down to the poor, black and white and Latino, you name it. Liberal, middle of the road, independent, conservative. He's garnering them all. And even Hillary Clinton can't do that. So y'all better start paying attention to what I'm telling you. And understand that this is an election about positivity. People want to hear a positive message about how you're going to turn this American ship around. They're done with the infighting. They're done with the backstabbing. They're done with the insincerity. They're tired of it because it's always given them people that hasn't done what they wanted them to do. So, Cruz, if you want to be sincere and have people believe, stop attacking other candidates, especially Trump. Stop it. Go positive. Do a Kasich. Go positive. You know, because it would be. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I think it would be quite interesting and quite telling if Kasich started polling in the top three and started finishing in the top three. If he stays positive. But you know what? I even that. With that said, I don't think it's going to change. Look, the reason why people go. Let me be clear. This time around, November of 16, the election belongs to the Republicans. Whoever that Republican nominee is most likely going to be the next president of the United States. I get it, and they all smell the blood in the water. I know they understand this and know this, but let me tell you something. Just like with Romney, Republicans can still lose the elections. The Democrats can't win it. They cannot win this election. But the Republicans can lose it. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to save the attacks when appropriate for the Democrat. You need to be fully positive about your message right now. It's really frustrating watching this process right now. It really is. Because it doesn't matter who I support. The process itself, you could say, well, it's broken. Well, you got people who are trying to fix it. But but those who still want the old system are turning off supporters. Turning them off. I don't know how else to say it, and you're not. Look, I know you're not hearing this from any other program out there, because I've listened to a lot, and they're not saying this stuff. But it's important, and it needs to be said, and it needs to be understood, and people need to take this warning seriously. Heed my warnings. TheHill.com is reporting that the State Department is going to release another 550 Clinton emails, but they're going to do it over the President's Day weekend. So really, who's going to be paying attention? Everybody's going to be thinking about taking their long weekend, and you can't blame people for that. You really can't. I mean, you can't blame people for tuning out and turning off and all that kind of stuff. What is it? Tuning out type of thing. because they get a little overwhelmed and they just tune out. They want a break. Can't blame them for that. But what I can tell you is that this happens all the time. When you don't want people to pay attention, this is why they call Fridays document dump day. When you have something that you don't want the vast majority of people paying attention to, you do it on a Friday. When you have something that you really don't want people to pay attention to, an even greater number not paying attention, you do it on a holiday or the day leading up to a holiday. And you do it leading up to a holiday that's closest to you. The best holiday time period, obviously, to do stuff that you don't want the American people to know about, it obviously is Christmas break. Nobody's paying attention then. That's how we got Obamacare. But when you start document dumping on a holiday weekend, then you know you probably should be paying attention even more so. Because by the time you come off that holiday weekend, the lamestream media has moved on to other stories because everything's about what's happening today. Not what's important, but what's happening today. Not following up on what's important, like this happens every weekend. You get document dumps on Friday. The press may come out with something that Friday night or Saturday morning, and then by the time Monday rolls around, they're like they're like kids with ADHD or whatever that's called now, ADD or ADHD, whatever. They have an attention span disorder. And they always use the excuse, well, nobody was paying attention to it anyway, so we're moving on. Well, nobody was paying attention to it because it was designed for them not to pay attention to it because it was released and then you talked about it on the weekend when people don't have time to pay attention to it. Well, they do have time, but they choose not to because they're off doing other things. So they're telling us ahead. We're gonna release these 550 emails, but we're gonna do it over leading up to the President's Day weekend. Why do you think that they've chosen almost every time they've released a batch of Clinton's emails? When did they did it on a Friday? Think about it, folks. They've done it on a Friday. When people aren't paying that much attention. The press gets wind of it, they read them, and they go gangbusters on Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, maybe into Saturday evening, and by the time Monday comes around, the only thing that you hear about, the more Clinton emails were released, and two of them were listed as redacted as top secret. And that's the way it's going. And by the time Tuesday or Wednesday hits, unless it's something really dire that comes out in an email, you don't hear about it anymore. It has no newsworthy traction according to the lamestream media. They've gotten really good at this. And basically, we the people have allowed them to get good at this by our own apathy and inattention. Really. So now we're going to have, 550 more email. I wonder what's going to be in them, but, probably half of them are meaningless. But there's still roughly 3,700 remaining Clinton emails. That alone should tell you, there's a great number of them, but why is it taking them so long to release them? Well, that means because there's a lot of sensitive information in these emails, and they want to make sure that they cover up the sensitive stuff before that gets released again. Don't doubt me.
Your credit score is a joke, and you're too embarrassed to let anyone know your 3-digit score. Sucks to be you, but it doesn't have to. Delete all those unsightly derogatory items, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, judgments, tax liens, bankruptcies, and foreclosures. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571 or visit us at 700creditnow.com. You've heard the old adage, cash is king. But in some cases, credit can be just as powerful as cash. Not many people have $200,000 to put down on a house, or $50,000 to put down on a car, or $25,000 to put down in a business. But look around and you'll find that millions of Americans do have homes and cars all purchased with little to no money down. To turbo boost your credit scores, call 888-541-5571. Again, that's 888-541-5571 or visit us at www.700creditnow.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-616-8010. That's 1-800-616-8010. Again, 1-800-616-8010. Call now.
Did you ever look at the stains in your coffee cup and then realize that's exactly what happens to your teeth? Power Swabs is the 5-minute solution to get your teeth white without visiting the dentist. This is Ben Gordon with Power Swabs, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, all it takes is 5 minutes with Power Swabs. In 5 minutes, you'll see an average of 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. It's clinically proven to whiten natural teeth as well as caps and veneers. The secret is a tooth detergent that was developed by Dr. Martin Ginniger that lifts stains off of your teeth. Best of all, there's no messy strips or trays that you have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes and you're done. To try Power Swabs risk-free, call 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140. I guarantee your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free today. 1-800-291-5140. That's 1-800-291-5140.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
When you're ready to take the edge off a hectic day, I suggest you start with a little music from Franz Black.
I guess there's lots of ways to look at things that don't seem right.
No Worries has just been released on iTunes and Amazon.
It's gonna be alright.
You can find Franz Black and his music on his website, friendsblack.com. Franz black.com.
It's gonna be alright.
603-835-3224 is the number here to the Rod Eccles Show. Should you wish to still call and
get your opinion listed, posted, listened to, heard, whatever, give a call, 603-835-3224. TheDailySignal.com has a story about Maine's required, well, under Governor LePage, let me set it up for you. Under Governor LePage, there is he's done some changes up in the state of Maine. Now, Maine is still rather liberal. Don't get me wrong. It's still, but this guy is a Republican governor, and he's more conservative than Maine has had in some time. And he's implemented some changes up there that, of course, everybody in the left was like just shocked and angry and upset and scared. What if, oh my goodness, and they were upset by the fact that not that he was actually making changes to the welfare system, but the fact that his changes, they were more afraid because they knew that they would work, that these changes would work. And that's a problem for liberals because, they're always told, we always hear how mean, rotten, evil, and hateful Republicans are to people. And one of the things that he's done up there, LePage has done up in Maine, is to change the welfare system back to its advertised original suggested goal, was to give people a hand up, not a handout. Now, I say advertised because it was fully implemented knowing that it would end up being a handout, not a hand up. It was entrapment into government enslavement. And people bought it. And that's where liberals want to keep you. They want to keep you entrapped and enslaved in government enslavement. What is this story? Story that's flashing on my screen here. Yeah, I already know that. Why is this? This is not news. Folks, evidently there must be some new stuff to this one as I digress from my original main story. $750 million in Obamacare tax credits have gone to illegal immigrants. Senate report finds. I thought we already knew that. Must be something new to the story. This is why it's flashing on my screen as an updated story or something. Maybe I'll cover that tomorrow, but we don't have time today. Got too many other things to talk about. But know that I brought it to you. So if anybody else talks about it, you know that I brought it to you first. $750 million in Obamacare tax credits may have gone to illegal immigrants. Senate report finds. But Maine has decided to change through Governor LePage. And some people say, well, this governor's not all there. He's actually done, a few wacky things. He's even said a few wacky things. Yeah, I'll admit that. He's not my governor, but kind of what he's doing in Maine, kind of wish he was New Hampshire's governor. But, he's not. He's a Mainer. But what he's done is in his welfare reform in the state's welfare program, he required childless adults. That's for those of you in Rush Limbaugh's Rio Linda, that those childless adults are people over the age of 18 who don't have children. That's what a childless adult is. So Maine has required childless adults to work to get food stamps. And of course, the Daily Signal is saying here is what happened. And we're told that we don't spend enough on social programs. Well, last year, the government spent $1 trillion on mean-tested welfare aid, providing cash,
food, housing, medical care, social services to the poor and low-income individuals. The food stamp program is actually the nation's second largest welfare program. Food stamps. We got some 50 million people on food stamps now. The number of food stamps recipients has dramatically risen from 17.2 million to over 45 million in 2015. The costs have soared over that same period from 2000 to 2015. Almost tripled in that 15-year time span. The costs have gone from 20.7 billion to over 83 billion in 2014. So from 2000 to 2014, it goes from 21 billion to 83 billion. I thought it's supposed to help people. Now, the most rapid growth in the food stamp caseload in recent years has been among able-bodied adults without dependents. These are work-capable adult recipients between the ages of 18 and 49 who do not have children or other dependents to support. These are the people that are getting food stamps. These people are getting food between the ages of 18 and 49, and they're fully capable, able-bodied people. I'm not talking about, people who are not able physically to work, to do most kinds of work. Not talking about handicapped people at all. Talking about fully able-bodied people. Kind of like the college students that moved back into mom and dad's basement because they couldn't find a job and they didn't want to take a job at McDonald's or Starbucks or something. Or they didn't want to take that job that only paid them $25,000 a year because they went, after all, they got a college degree. They got a bachelor's or master's degree, and they spent $60,000, $70,000, $100,000. They don't, they deserve more than $25,000 a year. So they're going to hold out, not work, and hopefully get some government assistance and more free stuff while they sit on their duffs. But in Maine, since 2008, the food stamp caseloads of adults without dependents who are able-bodied has more than doubled nationally, swelling from nearly 2 million recipients in 2008 to 5 million today. They gained national notoriety when Fox News aired a documentary on food stamps featuring a 29-year-old Jason Greenslate, a Californian who reported that he spends his time surfing and playing in his rock band, all the while receiving benefits from the food stamp program. In other words, instead of looking for a job, he's out there surfing and playing in a rock band. And then, I remember the story because he had nerve to complain that, he wasn't eating like a king. He was eating like a pauper. What? Wait, you're fully capable of working, but instead of looking for a job and getting a job and going to work, you're going to go surf almost every day and then play in your untalented rock band because you think maybe you're going to hit it big someday. So the American people, those who are actually working, are supposed to support and subsidize your lifestyle until you hit it big. And I know people like him say, well, geez, when I hit it big, I want to pay a lot more in taxes, so it's going to be worth it. The problem is most of you never hit it big. Most of you never even hit it small. Most of you never hit it at all. So it's a losing proposition it's a bad investment for us, those who are working and paying taxes. You're a bad investment. You're a drain. Now, in response to the growth in food stamp dependence, Maine's governor, Paul LePage, recently established work requirements on recipients who are without dependents and who are able-bodied. In Maine, all able-bodied adults without dependents in the food stamp program are now required to take a job, participate in job training, or perform community service. Now, job openings for lower skilled workers are abundant in Maine, and I know one of those things that they say is lower skilled is fishing and shrimping and lobstering. I don't think that's a low skill, by the way. I don't. It's no. You're not getting me out on those boats in all kinds of weather just trying to pull up some lobsters and clams and shrimp. Hell no. Or fish. Ain't doing that. I'm a fair weather fisherman, by the way. And most of my fishing is done while both of my feet are still firmly planted on terra firma, not in the water, not floating on some undersized Have you seen these lobster boats? I mean, these things are tiny. Ain't no way you're getting I'm not getting my butt out there. Hell, I'm glad somebody else is doing it because I sure as hell ain't doing it. Yeah, that's insanity. That's not low skilled in my book, but I know they're including that in the low skilled stuff. But still. Now, job openings for lower skilled workers are abundant in Maine, and for those able-bodied adults without dependents, or ABAWD recipients who cannot find immediate employment, Maine offers both training and community service slots. But despite vigorous outreach efforts by the government to encourage participants, most childless adult recipients in Maine refuse to participate in training or to even perform community service for just 6 hours a week. Now, when these recipients refused to participate, their food stamp benefits ceased. In order to get food stamps, all they had to do, at the least, was do community service. That community service was only for 6 hours a week. And yet they refused to do that. In the first 3 months after Maine's work policy went into effect, its caseload of able-bodied adults without dependents plummeted by 80%, falling from over 13,000 recipients in December of 2014 to just over 2,600 recipients in March of 2015. Now, this drop in welfare dependence has a historical precedent. When work requirements were established in the Aid to Families with Dependent Children program in the 90s, approved by Clinton, by the way, nationwide caseloads dropped by almost as much. But albeit it took over a few years to do that versus a few months. Now, the main food stamp work requirement is sound public policy, and government should obviously aid those who are really in need, but welfare should not be a one-way handout. Nearly 9 out of 10 Americans believe that able-bodied, non-elderly adults who receive cash, food, or housing assistance from the government should be required to work or prepare for work as a condition of continuing to receive their aid. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Do something. I mean, all Maine was asking was that you did community service for 6 hours a week. I mean, there are a lot of different things that qualify as community service, for crying out loud. And they didn't even want to do that for just 6 hours. That's not even a full day. Now, look. Think about it in this terms. You know, we have some people in this country who want to look to some places like in Sweden and Denmark where companies are cutting back from an 8-hour day to a 6-hour day because they say the 6-hour day is more productive. Now, that hasn't actually panned out for every company that has tried that over there, by the way. But they're touting this. 6-hour day, man. Yeah, that's even better than an 8-hour day. We're more productive. So Maine is saying, hey, well, we're kind of doing the Nordic thing here. Not an 8-hour day, but a 6-hour day. And it's just a 6-hour day, 1 day a week. I mean, even if you did it in 2-hour stints, Well, part-time is really, 3 or 4 hours? So you don't even have to do it in one day. Hell, you could spread it out over 6 days. Go Monday through Saturday, just 1 hour a day, and you're done. But, most people, if they're smart, they get it all done in one day. Just 6 hours. Not even a full-time job full day. Barely over a part-time job day, which on average is about 4 hours. I mean, really? This is the whole problem with handouts, not hand-ups. The problem with handouts is that everybody expects something for nothing. And then when they get that thing that they want for nothing, they expect you to continue to giving it to them for nothing without even the response or responsibility of even giving back a little. They don't even want to give back a little. Can you imagine if everyone who is able-bodied across this country who receives some sort of public assistance were just required to work 5 or 6 hours per week community service to get their full benefits, whatever they're getting now? Instead of sitting on their duff, if they were just required just to go out and work 1 day a week for 5 or 6 hours, could you imagine the community outreach that could happen? That would happen. The benefits of this country would be tremendous. The reality is, liberals know this, the reality is that the majority of these recipients are so lazy and so dependent and so believe that they deserve it that they would refuse even this minimal requirement and would then get the boot. We'd see a caseload drop and a cost drop associated with that like you would not believe. But then you'd have a bunch of people who would be so impoverished and starving that the liberals would cry out, "See how mean they are, man? They don't even want to help." Well, we tried helping. We tried giving them a hand up. Hey, if you can't get a job, even a part-time job, just do something. You can't even do that. Then, we're going to train you. Get some training, get an education in a particular field or something, go to tech school. We'll do that for you. And if you can't find an interest where you want to do that, well, then for crying out loud, the last thing that we possibly ask of you is not just to take our money and run and sit on your duff while everybody else is working. Give back to your community that is supporting you. Just 5 or 6 hours a week, man. Do you realize you'd still have time the other 6 days to go surfing and practice with your band? Do you understand that? That idiot out in California, if California had such a requirement, all he would have to do is do community service 1 day a week. He still would have 6 days to go out and do whatever the hell he wanted to do. They don't even want to do that. Look, I'm telling you, it's not that Republicans, it's not that conservatives are greedy. It's not that corporate CEOs are greedy. It's just the opposite. It's that liberals and whiny, wimpy, lazy people on the public dole are greedy. They are so greedy that they are proven. It has been proven time and time again. Whenever we put these kind of work or educational requirements and attach them to any type of public assistance, it has been proven time and time again that they are too greedy and selfish to do anything to pay back society for helping them. In fact, they demand that we give them more. They constantly demand that we, the people, give them more. They do not give back to society. They do not produce anything. They do not help. Oftentimes, we have to pay twice because not only are we paying for their benefits, which is not really a benefits, it's just government thievery. We're paying for their benefits, but then a lot of times we have to pay for their criminal activity. And then they complain to us, well, if I would have gotten more help, man, more assistance, I wouldn't do this criminal activity because I'm not getting enough. Get a job. I can't get a job, man. I don't want to get a job something I don't want to do. Well, do public community service. Give back to the community that is supporting your butt. I ain't doing that, man. That's for chumps. I think maybe we should do that more often. Tell able-bodied people, you want assistance. You're going to get, if you want assistance from the community that you live in that's going to support you, you're going to give back to them in one way or another. But see, in my particular case, I truly would be considered mean and cruel because if you were an able-bodied individual, with or without kids, if you were a fully abled person and you could not find a full-time job, I would require that you work more than 6 hours in public and community service. More than that. I think it's worth it. I'd say you'd have to work a full 8-hour shift. Full 8 hours. But not just one day, but two. Make it almost a part-time job, if you will. 16 hours. Plus you have to receive some sort of job training or other education that's going to help you find a real job within, and I'll be generous, within a 4-year period. And I would cap the amount of time that anybody could be on public assistance for an able-bodied person. I'm going to be generous for 5 years. I would cap lifetime benefits to 10. Doesn't mean that you get, so that prevents people from returning to the system. That's it. You get 2 5-year stints max, 10 years maximum, your entire life. That's it. Giving you job training, giving you education, and you still are going to need my support, then that's not the public's problem. It's not the problem of the taxpayer. Become a useful member of society. Plain and simple. Do something. Do something. There's just too much opportunity out there. There's so much opportunity you don't have time to take advantage of even a quarter of it. But you're not going to be able to take advantage of any of those opportunities if you're just sitting at home. No. Trust me, sitting at home on your duff is not going to help you in the future. It's not going to help your community and your society. And you're just going to be a continued drain on everyone. And that brings society as a whole down. Well, that sound means we're out of time. Hey, tomorrow we're expecting Dr. Alveda King, niece to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. here on The Rod Eccles Show. Until then, up next you got, of course, Rush and Hannity. This has been The Rod Eccles Show, and I am, of course, the one and only Rod Eccles. I'm out.